Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Three Rivers Financial Wellness Podcast. I'm Ashley and I have a special guest, Cody, with us today.
Hey Ashley.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We wanted to invite Cody today. He has a very special position at the credit union. I think you're the only one that does it, right?
I am. I'm the only one in the company that handles them. I am an account management and support coordinator specializing in deceased accounts.
It's tough stuff. I know you deal with a lot of emotions. It's a very high emotional time, and you're so good at taking care of people in a time that's really hard.
Yeah, it's just you have to stop and listen, and you just go through and be prepared to tell them what's happening with the accounts, what your next steps are, and just be the support that they need at that time.
Yeah. So what would you say is the most common thing that you run into when people are calling you like for you, or we transfer folks to you? What's happening?
They don't know what is happening. So they need to know the status of the accounts, what's happening, what is their next steps, what do they need to do. Sometimes they have a list of things that they want to accomplish, and then sometimes it's does this person even have accounts with you? So
how do you make sure when something like that happens? Like, how do I know what to do? Do I just call you and you give me advice? Like, how does that work?
The process that Three Rivers has is somebody will fill out a workflow, go through. It's a comprehensive review of all of the accounts so that they go in and look at everything and kind of touch all the parts of the accounts. Are there checking accounts? Are there savings accounts? Are there loans? Are there any beneficiaries listed? And just takes a good look at it. And if you, the member, has additional questions, they can schedule a follow-up appointment. And I go through and review everything and give you really clear next steps on how to help you out.
So I feel like this is one of the things that is just so important that people are kind of scared to talk about. And that's part of what we do on the podcast, is just trying to bring awareness to all things money and financial wellness. And if we can talk about it, then we're able to help people. So if you were going to just tell the general public, here is the top one or two things that you need to make sure you have in place so that your loved ones are in a better position when you pass away, what would that be? What advice would you give?
One of the biggest things is deciding what do you want to happen to your money after you pass away. And the easiest things to do is just ask. Go in and ask the question, what happens to my money after I die? And have them go through and explain the process of what's going to happen. And then if you have an idea of what you want to happen, then tell them hey, I want this money to go to my kids. I want this money to go to my spouse or whoever. And what do I need to do to make sure that happens? And hopefully they'll be able to take you through the steps on how to set that up.
So you're saying go to your financial institution to have that conversation?
Yes. It's not a super easy process because every financial institution is going to do it differently.
Okay.
Whether you bank at a credit union or a bank, they can have different rules. Different rules go for different institutions, and state laws come into play with that too.
Yes. So do you have a story that sticks out to you about maybe how you've helped a member through this, or a big lesson learned or something like that?
I've had accounts where you set up a payroll and death beneficiary, and they're like, what do I need to do? I need access to this money. With PODs or payroll and death beneficiaries, all you need is a death certificate, and that gives you immediate access to the account. We can close it out, and the funds are paid directly to you. You don't have to go through an estate process or anything.
So help me understand the difference. So my husband and I have joint accounts. Mm-hmm. If I pass away, my husband has access to that anyway, right? Because he's a signer?
Yes. So he needs to be a joint owner
okay.
on the account. Some institutions will allow authorized signers onto an account, but that authorization falls off when the owner of the account passes away.
Okay.
So if you do get added to an account, make sure that you're a joint owner, and then you will still have access to those funds after that person passes.
Okay, so if somebody is not joint owner, then I for sure need to have a payable on death.
Yes, because if the primary of the account passes away, you will lose your transactional authority on that account. And so it becomes frozen. And then depending on how the accounts are set up are what your next steps are going to be.
Gotcha. So then after that, it's really individual. I know it's hard to like give really great advice on this stuff because it's it's specific to individual situations.
I worked on an account. This gentleman had 5 accounts, set up 5 different ways, and we needed 5 different sets of paperwork for each one. One of the accounts was joint, and that was easy. One of the accounts had beneficiaries. One of the accounts was a business account, and the other account was held in a trust. So each one of those had different next steps, and the money all did different things.
So it's interesting. One of the things that I've often heard for a long, long time is beneficiaries. So people are like, oh, I have beneficiaries set up. It's no big deal. Why would I have a payable on death versus a beneficiary or both? Like, what's the deal?
So they legally are the same thing.
Okay.
Payable on death and beneficiaries are going to do the same thing. It's just saying that this person is entitled to the funds after my passing. They are payable upon death. The account gets closed and then the funds are transferred into your name.
Got it. Okay, so maybe you want both is the answer, beneficiaries and payable on death?
If they have that set up, it's the verbiage itself is going to vary from institution to institution.
Got it.
You have to ask the question and like, how do these get set up? And this is what I want to happen.
Got it. Okay. So what would be maybe one mistake or mishap that you've seen that you would try to help people to avoid?
Usually one of the most frustrating situations that I experience is power of attorneys. So with power of attorneys, once the person that your power of attorney over passes away, your power of attorney ends immediately. You no longer have legal authority and the account gets locked out and you can no longer transact on there. Some power of attorneys, they've been on the accounts for years and they've been helping their parents out or whatever the situation is. And they're just used to writing those bills, but as soon as that person passes, it ends. They may have thought they were joint on the account when they were just added on as an authorized signer in power of attorney, but they never added a beneficiary. And so it can cause a pause in the process and a little bit of a delay, and they have to find out what their next steps are. And then depending on how much money you have or paperwork that you have to fill out, it can take sometimes up to 45 days to claim the account.
You said something about like depending on how things are set up depends on what happens, but like what is best case scenario? So in a perfect world, if you could wave your magic wand and you could have everyone have their account set up in a way that is easy for them when something tragic happens, like what would that be?
The simplest way would be to set payable on death beneficiaries.
Okay, it's that simple.
It is.
Okay.
You go through and say who you want it to go to. You can designate special percentages to each beneficiary. If you don't want to split it evenly between all of them, your account gets locked out, and then all we need is a death certificate, and then we are authorized to distribute the funds to the beneficiaries. The funds are not subject to probate or estates. We just pay it out directly to you, and then what you do with that money is up to you.
Cool. That makes it pretty simple.
It's one of the fastest and easiest ways to go through and to set up an account. If you have more detailed or not necessarily complicated wishes of what you want to happen with your money, if you wanted to go through a trust or anything, we recommend setting up an estate, and it goes through a legal process, and you can do a lot more with it.
That's one of the other questions. I know, again, it's individual, depends on the individual, but one of the big questions that I get with financial wellness and kind of thinking through like long-term planning is, well, I have a will, so doesn't that just take care of all of that? So what would you say to that?
A will governs an estate, and you have to go through the will will name an executor or a personal representative is a legal appointment of authority from a judge. So you have to go through the probate process and then be granted that authority to handle the financial affairs of the deceased. So you can have a will, but it doesn't really kick in until that judge reads over it and then grants authority.
Okay. So kind of just takes longer is part of it.
It does. It takes a little bit longer and it costs a little bit more money.
All right. Well, what else is important to share? What have you got on your mind?
An important thing to share is however you choose to set up your accounts, please tell the important people that will be taking care of the accounts after you pass. If you have everything at one financial institution, super easy. If you have accounts at 4 or 5 different places, if you have investments, have everything in a folder and let somebody know, like, if anything happens to me, look here, this is all the information, or have that conversation with somebody. I know those conversations are very, very difficult. Nobody wants to talk about, oh, by the way, if I die, this is what you need to do. I know those are very hard conversations to have with families. A lot of times they don't have those. And then your next steps are turned into chaos, and it's frustration and trying to find everything and get everything put into one spot.
I know I went to a workshop, it's been a couple months ago, but it was for kind of end of life planning. And it was interesting because my husband and I were there, and we were the youngest ones there by a long shot, right? Anyway, one of the things I learned was, like, a lot of funeral homes now have where you can prepay for your funeral, or they have packets that you can fill out that help answer all those questions. And so I know in our family, like, my grandpa passed away unexpectedly. It was really hard. He had a will and everything, but there were lots of decisions that we really didn't know the answers for. And so we were trying to kind of scramble and figure out between all of my aunts and uncles, but, like, what's the right thing? What would he have wanted? And so just that communication piece, I think, is so important to be able to say, here's what I want. And then how do we make sure that the family kind of does what you ask? So I know funeral homes, lawyers, financial institutions all have a piece in all of that. And so being as prepared as you can is really, really important. But I agree, the conversation is the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So how early is too early? When do you think people should set all this up?
It's never too early. It's do it at the time of the account opening. Ask the person opening your account, like, this is what I want to happen if anything happens to me, and go through and ask great questions. Questions about if you're naming a child or a minor as a beneficiary, like, what's going to happen to it, because there's different things that happen to that if it's going to a spouse or if it's a non-spouse. So you just got to ask those great questions, and hopefully they'll guide you where you need to go.
It sounds like there's a challenge coming out of that.
Yes, the challenge that I have for you is to ask those questions. Go to your financial institution. Ask them, what happens to my money if I were to die? Do I have beneficiaries? Are the beneficiaries who I think they are? That happens too. And just go through and make sure that your wishes are fulfilled when you're no longer around.
Love that. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We're here for you. Be planning ahead and have those conversations as soon as you can. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Three Rivers Financial Wellness Podcast. While we're excited that you join us on this journey of financial wellness, we do need to give you a short disclaimer. This podcast is for informational purposes only and isn't intended as financial, tax, or investment advice. Be sure to consult your own experts before making financial decisions. Three Rivers is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal housing lender.